my feel-good breakfast show.
Hey, welcome back. It's a Tuesday morning and this is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on SABC 3. Now, it goes without saying, we all know that sleep is a very important part of our health. In fact, experts say that you should be getting between 7 and 9 hours per night. How many of us actually do that? But then we've all been there. Sunday afternoon comes around, you've had your third helping of that roast potato and beef and mash and pumpkin, and then Marcus vol orie stew. But they say that if you're constantly feeling tired, that might be a cause for concern, which is what we're talking about today in our health chat with Dr. Darren Green. Napping. Dr. Green, good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, you know, doctor, it's like Kat said, you know, sometimes not everyone gets between 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Can you quickly give us a brief overview of what happens to the body during the sleep process, the sleep cycle?
100%. So everyone knows about REM and non-REM sleep. And REM means rapid eye movement. So your sleep cycles are made up basically of those two main components of sleep. And you dream, for example, in REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep. So your brain waves go into a slower state, and then you go from light sleep into deep sleep, coming out again into light sleep, and then you repeat the cycle. And one sleep cycle itself takes about 90 minutes in a typical adult.
Yeah.
So that means that you're working out your sleep cycles in multiples of 1.5. So that's why you often feel fantastic after sleeping 6 hours instead of 8 hours.
Oh, because of the 1.5.
Where you're working out on that curve, you might not wake up in a deep phase when the neighbor's Alsatian dog barks you awake at night. So that's why you feel so energetic and not so clumsy, dropping your keys and kicking the furniture, for example.
So if you are getting enough hours of sleep every night, is it then even necessary to take things like power naps during lunch at all?
Yeah, I think what we need to do is actually listen to our bodies. Sometimes you'll find, depending on the activity that you're exerting during the day, that you might need, from all the mental activity, the concentration, the intensity on a screen like that, for example, you feel that you've exhausted that process. It's a wonderful part of the brain called the RAS, reticular activating system, that's responsible for the 3 A's, alertness, awakeness, and arousal. And that is very, very crucial in terms of keeping us tuned into the environment and also alert so that we can remember things we need to ensure survival of us as a species. And obviously the rhythms of the body, the natural rhythms of sleeping at night and being away in the day are controlled by light sensitivity through the eyes and a gland in the brain called the pineal gland. So that's all important, but that's so in the daytime you might feel that the sleep you've had wasn't sufficient or the tasks that you're doing to exhaust you. But we're still studying the architecture of sleep in the daytime to see what is the ideal length of a nap. Because power naps don't work for everyone.
No. I was going to ask you, what is the ideal nap phase? Because I was serious when I say I sometimes plan my day around a nap.
Yeah.
Really? So when you started, like, you first plot
I plot when I'm going to nap, and then everything can happen before or after, but I have to schedule nap time.
Yeah, so some people do 6 minutes, a 6-minute nap.
Okay, that's not enough.
6
That
minutes.
doesn't sound nearly enough.
And ideally, what we do know is that before you go into the deep second stage of sleep, like what that we call obviously REM sleep, you shouldn't go more than 30 minutes. So the 20-minute time that people generally give you as a guideline is normally a good idea. You'll know if you do well with power naps, if you sleep between 5 and 20 minutes and wake up. There's also a thing called a caffeine nap, where they say you must take your caffeine, drink it quickly, not over 20 minutes, but over 5 minutes, and then rest for 15 minutes after that. And when you wake up from that, obviously, you feel quite a fresh, breath of air.
Very interesting. Well, if you've got a comment or a question when it comes to napping, we would love to hear from you. Our lines are open, 021-430-9881. We're going to be back with Dr. Darren Green shortly.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, we're back again with the good Dr. Darren Green, and it's all about nap time and how much nap is too much nap, how many hours of sleep you should be getting, because we don't want you to be a slap tiger, okay? That's why Dr. Darren Green is here. So we've established, of course, earlier on, Dr. Darren Green, that naps are beneficial, but is there a question of relying too much on naps? Could you be doing it to the point where it's unhealthy for you?
Yes, you can, certainly. And certainly we see, anecdotal reports show in my own situation and families that sometimes if children sleep too long during the daytime, that it can detract in young babies particularly in how they sleep at night. And you'll ask any parent that's been through that, and you'll hear the sleep trainers tell you that they're confusing day and night. you know, because then you've got to start re-establishing a cycle, opening the curtains for light, for example, getting the nighttime routine really, really taped down at 6 o'clock every night, for example. So all that plays quite a crucial role, but sleeping too much or going past a certain time in your daytime napping can go into a deeper phase of sleep, and that leads you to a place of a thing called sleep inertia, which is basically waking up groggy, grumpy.
Like that.
Like that. For the rest of the afternoon.
Enough said. You're
And
not
you
gonna,
feel like that for the day.
you feel like that for a while afterwards because you woke up on the wrong side of the curve in terms of sleeping too long, going into deep sleep. And that's not good for your sleep architecture. And then you're not functioning optimally in terms of your brain function, whether you're laying down new memories, whether you're trying to concentrate and learn things or recall old memories. That condition's not going to help you.
Okay. Well, doctor, how do you stop yourself from falling into that cycle if you find yourself constantly exhausted in the afternoon and you want to take a little nap, but it affects your sleeping pattern at night?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, firstly, why aren't you sleeping properly at night? Are you not tired enough?
It's the nap.
Are you not exercising? Or is it the nap that's stealing the quality of your sleep? So you might be sleeping too frequently in the day or too long in the day. Look at that. Also look at the stimulants. The biggest cause of insomnia that people don't realize is drinking 6 cups of coffee during the day, and they don't make...
You look at me with those eyes right now. That's my first cup.
That's a giant cup.
I do about 6 a day, and I sleep, but it depends when your last cup is as well, and also how sensitive you are to caffeine. Some people have some tea, and they have the same effect as coffee. Rooibos tea, our good South African rooibos, doesn't have caffeine in it, which is great. So remember that stimulants and also medication that you're using for things like sinuses during winter can also lead to that aroused effect at nighttime where you over alert and awake and can't fall asleep. But certainly being tired enough, exercising and getting a good condition in terms of cardiovascular work and getting out and getting fresh air does help. When we go for a walk along the beach, how many of us, when we've spent a day at the beach, sleep like absolute rocks? You're getting fresh air, you're outside, you're exercising, swimming in those waves, and when you get back at nighttime, you pass out, whether you're a child or an adult. And that's because of the lifestyle implication on the quality of sleep.
All right.
Making me miss summer right now.
It's just around the corner. So we'll be right back with Dr. Darren Green to discuss not only that tip, but also other tips of helping you break the habit of too many naps during the day. And we're also keeping our lines open, 0214309881. Give us a call. Not when you're napping, that is.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Alrighty then, welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Thanks for choosing to start the day with us. Dr. Darren Green is in the house, and we're talking all about napping. And early on, we were talking about tips that the doctor could give us about how to break that reliance on naps every day if you feel that you are taking too many naps.
100%. So watch what you're ingesting in terms of stimulants, whether that be medication, whether that be your refreshments and your beverages and your drinks. Then also look at your lifestyle implications like exercise. Are you getting enough of it? Are you exercising? And when are you exercising as well? Also look at the type of activities you're doing before bedtime in terms of exposure to LED screens, in terms of stimulating emails that you need to respond to urgently. All important. And then during the day, if you do nap, don't nap for periods longer than 20 minutes.
Okay.
We know that you're going to move closer to getting into your REM, or your rapid eye movement sleep cycle, if you sleep longer than that. And remember, obviously, that the amount of naps is also important. Generally, the best time to take a power nap is between 1 and 4 in the afternoon, according to some of the research that's being done.
But not from 1 to 4.
No. Likely between that time, but not after 4, because then it can affect your... Not after 4 in the afternoon, because that can affect your nighttime sleep cycle. Just ask the siesta guys. They love it.
Now, Dr. Darren Green, what is sleep apnea? I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Apnea means you stop breathing. So sleep apnea means you stop breathing during sleep. Obstructive sleep apnea is when the airway itself is compromised during sleep.
Is that the snoring?
That's when you hear someone snore, the vibrations. Obstructive sleep apnea often results from too much red wine at night, when the soft palate becomes floppy and loses muscle tone, drops into the airway, for example. Some people have a narrow airway anyway by anatomy, you know. So you need to obviously be then vigilant of things like large adenoids, tonsils. So there are different ear, nose, and throat causes that can contribute to obstructive sleep apnea. Lifestyle factors like drinking alcohol, your type of pillow, and your build are also important. A short, thick neck is much more prone to sleep apnea You can imagine, because if you've got lots of soft tissue around the neck and you sleep on your back, the soft tissue presses the airway closed. Those people should sleep on their sides, for example, and that would make a big difference. But basically, so when you breathe out, you can't breathe out all your carbon dioxide. You have CO2 retention. The health complications of sleep apnea are devastating. Excessive daytime sleepiness, where you can barely keep your eyes open, happens, where you fall asleep at work or driving or even sitting having a meal. That combined with things like hypertension, low energy, mood that's suppressed, and then obviously increased weight around the abdominal area and an inability to lose that weight.
Sure.
Fascinating subject matter. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Green. We really appreciate it, and I hope that you were enlightened by it. Of course, you can follow the good doctor at Dr. Darren Green. But we'll keep our lines open. I think we have one more. Yes, we have one more chat with the doctor. 0214309881.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, welcome back. Dr. Darren Green still on the hot seat talking about all things sleep. And we've spoken about sleep inertia, sleep apnea. I want to ask Dr. Green, tell me about the perfect sleep routine. When it should start, how it should go, and how I should be expecting to sleep every night if I was doing it to perfection.
Yeah, in the dream world.
In the dream world.
The dream world, in the ideal world, you need between 7 and 9 hours sleep
Okay,
for the
that's
brain
amazing.
to reach its absolute peak performance.
Yeah.
So you'd need to obviously try and get to bed before 10 at night.
Okay.
If you're not a shift worker and you don't have to do tasks late at night.
Oh, World Cup games only end like at 11 o'clock.
You know. So you've got to understand that you need 4 to 5 of those 1.5 hour cycles that I spoke about earlier on in a good night to help you function optimally. That means also in your routine, you need to have a dark room. You need to have the temperature of the room correct. You need to have a good pillow and a good bed. You need to have the right underwear or lack of underwear, clothes or sheets or whatever, in terms of temperature regulation.
Okay.
Good hot drinks before bedtime that don't stimulate you, and then your exposure to bright lights, LED screens, etc., also important. But all those things contribute towards you getting a better quality sleep. Your reading material, crucial. What are you reading before bedtime, and what music are you listening to before? Does your heart rate go up with the music you're listening to just before you go to bed or not?
As Dr. Green is naming these, I'm realizing how many of these I'm doing wrong.
You can do a few tweaks, and it does help. You'll see.
Okay. Well, Doctor, we've got a caller on the line, JC from Cape Town. Good morning. What's your comment or question for Dr. Darren Green this morning?
Hey, good morning, guys. I just want to say I love your show. You guys are awesome. I wake up every morning to it.
Thanks so much, JC.
So, hey, Doc, I've got a question, right? So I work like a night shift, and I work up until 2 a.m. in the morning. So I get home at about 3 o'clock. I go to bed, but I wake up when the sun comes out. So I wake up at about 6 o'clock. You can see I'm awake now, and I'm supposed to be sleeping. So what can I do to kind of help get like a full night rest instead of waking up 4 hours after I go to bed in the morning?
That's a great question. Shout
Thank
out to
you,
all of those
JC.
like you, JC, that work the
for
night
sure.
shifts out there in every single kind of job.
Exactly. So very important for him would be the thing I mentioned. So your body's got a natural circadian rhythm with a day-night cycle that's tuned in, and melatonin gets released from that pineal gland. So you need to obviously block out light that's coming into your flat, into your room, from your LED screen or your cell phone flashing next to your bed at nighttime. Eye patches are incredible for people. People that do night shift work, they need to wear those eye patches. And it's really, really crucial. Also, one would look at the noise levels, where he's sleeping during the day. Everyone in the world is up between 7 and 8, sometimes 6 and 7 mostly. And you can think, if you're living in close proximity, in traffic and so forth, it also plays. So earplugs are useful for someone that works shift work. So eye patches and earplugs, making sure you have enough fluids, obviously, as well for the hydration, but also not drinking too much so that urination wakes you up before you need to wake up. So watch what you take. If you've been drinking lots of coffee to stay awake until 2 a.m., remember that the diuretic effect of caffeine and coffee is going to come through beautifully at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And then you're going to have to get up.
Some
We have another
interesting
call.
factors. That's right.
This is Simon from KZN calling us. Good morning, Simon.
Morning.
Great to have you on the line. Go ahead.
Hi, doctor. So I've got a question. I've got lupus. I was diagnosed in 2015. And obviously since then, it's like really affected my sleep patterns where I'm constantly exhausted. And what advice do you have for myself to not so tired anymore. I am obviously on chronic meds, but yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Simone.
you.
So what advice do you have?
Yes, so she mentioned she's got a condition called lupus.
Autoimmune.
SLE, autoimmune.
Yeah.
We spent some time together. I like it.
Yeah. One of my family members suffers from it.
Yeah,
That's why I know about it.
so lupus can affect the blood vessels. It can also affect your degrees of your kidney function, etc. Anemia is something that she should look at, a shortage of iron, because she complains of being really, really tired. But one of the big things that affect the quality of sleep in her profile is the medication she's taking. So for lupus, one of the treatments are steroids or long-acting corticosteroids or immunosuppressives. And these can have a stimulating effect and keep you awake. Ask any parent that's given a steroid syrup to a child with a chest infection at nighttime. They do it once and they never do it again. So medication, certainly, and then looking obviously at the blood components involved here and whether the lupus has affected a central nervous system or not is also important in this case.
Yeah, and I guess also trying to apply as many of those tips that you gave as possibly.
The hygiene tips, yes, sleep hygiene.
Sleep hygiene. I think investing in those eye patches so that you can just block out the light, maybe even black out curtains in your room might be a great way to go about it. You've been amazing, Doctor, as always.
Thank
you
you
so much. And as I said earlier on, you can follow the good doctor on social media, on Twitter, at Dr. Darren Green. We still have lots more to come after the break.
We do. So we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere.